Hey guys, welcome back to the booth. Continuing with Card Kingdom's Vintage Tournament. Got Greg Mitchell here, Casey Hogan.
Hello.
Got a cool match. We've got Sean Yu playing Storm versus
David DiMolanta also playing Storm.
The Storm Mirror. I know we
right.
saw that, round one?
Yes. Oh, that feels like so long ago. It was noon.
Yeah,
The
it
sun
sure
was
was.
up. It was a different day.
Yeah, so this is
It should be interesting, I think. Well,
probably fast-paced.
Yeah.
Although I guess round one, it did go to time, didn't it?
Very nearly. It went. We had about 10 minutes left on the clock when we wrapped or cut to break.
Yeah. There's a lot of decisions. You can definitely take super long turns with Storm.
And I expect, like, if you and your opponent are having like an interactive game, that just means like you're stripping apart your each other's hands, and then like you're in top deck real fast.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of powerful cards to top deck.
That's true. It's like in that same way that Legacy Storm, I'm sure, works, where you can draw a Brainstorm at any point and totally rotate your hand from like 6 bad cards to 3 gas, 3 fine, get a free shuffle out of that. In this case, it's just you don't have to draw a Brainstorm. You just draw like a Demonic Tutor or like Yawgmoth Spell.
Yeah, even Wheel is fine. Wheel, Twister, you get a fresh 7. Your opponent does too, but if they're not really casting Force Will, Mental Misstep, you don't care.
Yeah, we must have seen 6 draw 7s in like the 3rd game of that first match that we played.
That's absurd.
That match? Cool. It looks like we're heading down to the match right meow. We've got both our players situated. You got to push them on it.
Cool. Yeah, so I think they're almost on the 70 card mirror. Do they have the same 60 main deck?
It's 60 squared to check that, right? It's difficult.
Yeah, but fortunately we're humans, so we can bypass stupid brute force algorithms, right?
Ah, that's a good point. I got 2 Komodo tools here.
So the only difference is Sean Yu has a Verdant Catacombs, whereas David has a Badlands, a Bloodstained Mire.
Oh.
You know,
yeah, that's
doesn't make a difference at all.
No. Yeah, it's different in this format where you expect like both blue and black sources that are basic. Like you need to have a lot of blue fetches and a lot of black fetches so that you can get around Wasteland. It's less of an issue here because you could just have like Mox Sapphire. Like you can't waste that. That's not how it works.
That's true, and they run on many fewer mana sources, so there's not usually room to play an island and a swamp. Now I actually cut the Library of Alexandria in my Storm list for an island because Storm, you're dumping your hand pretty quickly, and I wanted to have the second basic against shops. I was pretty happy with that decision, but my record definitely didn't indicate such.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did you do in today's tournament? But I'm sure that Zach already put you through the paces in the quarterfinal round.
He didn't put me through the ringer, actually.
Oh, what a sport. Well, then I'll spare you as well. I know Sean Yu's first seed coming to the top 8, so he'll definitely take the play here.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Who was second seed?
It was Tilo, I think, that player with the, trying to think of a positive word, non-stock gifts list. He's in the other semifinal match playing against Rob Van Lunen, who...
Lunen.
What'd I say?
Lunen.
Oh, English is hard. I guess it's probably not an English name, is it? Yeah, anyway, the shop slayer who took the quarterfinal match that we saw on camera just now.
Yeah, that gifts deck looks really cool. I'm excited to see the deck list after this tournament.
Yeah, it's. I've actually got it in front of us, but we'll keep an eye on that for later, or we'll look at that one later.
Okay.
Looks like David is thinking about his opener, and Sean seems like his was a pretty quick keep.
I'm a little surprised in that it has no business, 2 disruption spells, and a few fast mana things. But with so many powerful cards in this format, I'm not even sure that a Duress on turn 1 is necessarily going to be lights out.
Yeah, David has a pair of cantrips and 2 big spells to get it. Doesn't have any rituals, which is would have been like a natural way to attack his hand, I think.
Given this hand, I'm tempted to take Brainstorm or Ponder because he has 2 big business spells.
Yeah.
I think Brainstorm just because it sees more cards.
That's fair. It protects against future duresses that Sean might have. And we know that he has a pair of business of discard spells as well.
True.
Yeah.
So we see Sean play his artifact sources. Generally in the Storm Mirror, you want to play out your artifacts because the opponent can Twister or Wheel. And so effectively, you get to draw more cards with your opponent's draw 7.
You don't lose access to your fast mana when they play that draw 7.
Exactly. Although that strategy can actually be bad if you draw, for example, Mind's Desire or Tendrils and have to go for a natural kill. David has a tough decision here. Does he Cabal Therapy in the dark, or does he play Ponder? I think I would actually prefer playing Ponder because what do you name you?
That's a good question. He might be able to narrow, to restrict the range that Sean used Hand Kikatan right now, based on the way that he led with Ruby and then Manic Vault. He definitely don't get to name Dark Ritual, which is pretty natural, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So Dark Ritual is the only 4 in the list. The only non-land 4 in the list, except for Dark Petition and Gitaxian Probe.
I think relevant, the only relevant.
Yeah. I guess Dark Petition is one that he would not have been able to really cast last turn. Yeah. So there's an argument for that.
Even if he leads Ruby into Mana Vault, he's only got access to Black 3.
That's right. Sean has a lot of mana. If he top decks any draw 7 or Bargain, that's a big one.
Yogwill, not good. He's only got Dark Rituals and Dresses in the bin right now.
David, I think, can cast Desire now.
He's got a +2, and he has, I think, a Demonic. Oh, no, it's another Duress.
He's one short.
Yeah. I suppose he's going to sit on that Duress for a while. Sean has a single card in hand. Oh, he likes it. Okay.
Yeah, I think I would sit on Duress as well. Any card that Sean draws, he could play unless it's mana.
Right. So it would be unlikely for him to draw a business card that isn't Mind's Desire and then pass a turn with the card in hand.
Exactly.
Okay. That's pretty sensible. Do you think David prefers to deploy this? That's a mana producing land. It's pretty funny.
Not often that you see Tolarian Academy tapping for nothing in Storm. You definitely need to play that. You should have played that land because if you ever Desire, you get to play a land off Desire as well.
Oh, that's a good point. He has it in his hand too, so he needs to be aware of it. He doesn't want to. Maybe he's worried about the original Legend rule.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't play that old school at CK, but
even vindicating your opponent's Tolarian Academy is probably something you'd be happy with at this point.
You spend your card that produces no mana to kill the card that makes 2 mana. Yeah, I'd be on board with that.
Of course, the Legend rule doesn't work that way.
Yeah, right. The end step of Vampire Tutor for Sean definitely looking to be powerful here. My natural reaction was to pick up a Bargain. It looks like he's on that same plan.
Yeah, I would think so. It looks like he's at 17. So he should be able to draw a cool 16 cards with that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
He's close to being able to just kill with Dark Petition, actually.
Yeah. Is that... Do you think there's any argument for getting a draw 7 here?
No, I don't think so. Bargain is going to draw more than 7 cards, and also doesn't give your opponent any.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's that... When I start at 0, you start at 5. We both go up to 7. That's +5 for me, but +16 is just my bad.
Yes.
I'm so focused on getting my opponent that you just don't.
Did Sean draw for turn as well as?
No, Sean's still tanking.
Oh, I see. He's deliberating which of the 2 he wants.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if he kept Demonic Tutor or.
I think it'll be a surprise for everybody. But
keeping us on tenterhooks.
Yeah, I like the Dark Petition here. It's he's definitely going to start the turn with enough mana to cast it, and both of the spells at this point are -2 on your mana, so it makes sense to get the bulky one out of the way first if you're going to find that Demonic Tutor at some point.
That's fair. It might be more awkward to cast through Yawgmoth's Will, but if he is getting Yawgmoth's Will, it's not likely to be a huge issue.
Yeah. He's getting a full rebate on the Yawgwill. He's got, and he still has that pair of Dark Rituals in the graveyard, so he can go have to tap his Ruby, which is a relevant point here. Storm counts 1. We'll keep track of that one for you.
So it looks like he has enough spells in his graveyard to be able to just get Yawgmoth's Will and combo out from there. But it looks like he chose to build up another tutor in his graveyard at the cost of 2 mana.
Interesting.
So he had a total of, after resolving Dark Petition, he had 3 mana floating. Tolarian Academy will tap for 2, so that's 5.
And the Ruby tap for 1, making it a 6.
And then looks like he could replay that land that's in his graveyard and play all those rituals again, get to a pile of mana, and tutor for another spell, and then tutor for tendrils for the kill.
Yes, this will puts him down to exactly 1 black floating. And the 2 Dark Rituals bring him from 1 to 3, then 3 to 5. And then it should be trivial from here.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Sean lost this game. He would have to really mess up somehow, and I'm not even sure how.
Yeah, I think Sean has a strong counter. That's my assumption. Holding a PhD in biology does qualify you to be acceptable at math, I believe.
I think so. Although now he's doing medical stuff, and I don't know.
Oh, I don't know what that means at all.
Well, he's trying to be a doctor.
Oh, the doctor. Okay.
Yeah, he's already a doctor, but
there it is.
now he wants to be a MD PhD.
Oh, so fancy. It looks like he has exactly 7 cards in his graveyard at this moment, including the Cabal Ritual that he's hoping to cast.
Yeah, so a little misstep there. He might have miscounted when he was thinking about he might have counted the Cabal Ritual in his graveyard when he was thinking about Threshold.
Yeah, it's kind of natural to do it. Make sure he continues to have 2 instants of sorcerers in his graveyard. Yeah, it looks like it.
Yep, so he's going to go to 3 mana here. I would expect him to get Black Lotus, that goes to 6, and then he plays Demonic Tutor for Tendrils and kills his opponent.
That's exactly lethal, with exactly enough spells as well. Blindside Diamond because you want to...
Sure. Put less value on the battlefield?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not sure I like the approach of putting less value on the battlefield, but I can see where he's coming from. Oh, he's going to respond to his Demonic Tutor by cracking the LED. Perfect.
Sure. You get even more priority. Tricky bits.
Yeah.
Trickiness.
Is it reasonable for... I guess why would he be worried about the Purple's Recall in this case?
Yeah, I don't think so. We might have stumbled on these mana dice. He certainly should have more than that. Yeah. Looks like the Tendrils is going to be for 22.
Oh,
which,
that's just enough.
That plays around his opponent's outs.
Yeah. Him Cunning Wishing for... Cunning Wishing for the Cunning Wish that's in his pocket or something like that. So Sean takes that first match in the series.
So let's look at the sideboards. We have a bunch of stuff that doesn't apply to this matchup, and then Sadistic Sacrament in Sean's deck.
You know, I was dogging on that card earlier. It seems like it has some pretty narrow application, but this specifically is where it could be good. And in fact, I'm hesitant to speak too loudly about the Sadistic Sacrament, because if David's aware of it, he's additionally incentivized to bring in his Empty the Warrens.
That's a good point.
To bring him up to 2 ways to win the game. There's a sequence of events where Sean goes Swamp, Ritual, Sadistic Sacrament, win the game.
That's true.
Well,
that's very true.
Has to not deck out at that point, but should be trivial.
And we know that David is playing Mindbreak Trap, I believe.
That's true. He's got a Singleton in his sideboard.
Oh, just one.
Yeah, he's got access to Parahercle's Recall to complete the set in his deck. I'm not... I have thoughts about whether it's good in the Storm Mirror. It seems...
No, because most of the artifacts make mana. So if you're casting Hercule's Recall, it generally nets them mana.
You want to So my thought on this one was... so because of the existence of draw 7s on both player sides, when you draw artifact mana, you're incentivized to play it immediately, right? And the Hercule's Recall lets you... Well, obviously lets you reset your own artifacts to end, it's a really big ritual and a storm count modifier if you happen to top tick it later in the match, which I think is how these games might go down.
Okay. So you see it as responding to your opponent's draw 7 by basically making them discard a bunch of cards, effectively?
So it's good in 2 different categories in that case, too.
Offensively and defensively?
Yeah.
I see the argument, but what would you prefer to cut from these lists?
No, that's a good question, too. You can't really go down on rituals. You want to have the maximum number of discard spells. You could feel pretty clever by cutting your own draw 7s to take advantage of theirs. But even that's kind of ambitious. Honestly, David's definitely going to want to bring in his Singleton Mindbreak Trap. I like an Empty the Warrens based on my experience with Legacy Storm, which is a little different.
You also get to use the combo of Cabal Ritual and Cabal Therapy and Empty the Warrens if you go for a small empty.
Okay,
I think that's a good way to seal up the game. Besides the Sadistic Sacrament, Necropotence is pretty bad in the mirror because it's not often safe to just pass the turn.
Oh, sure, that's a good point. Okay. So
that's a solid cut. Yeah.
But that's just a Mindbreak Trap on my end, and a Sadistic Sacrament for Sean's end.
I think Mind's Desire is another card that's fine to cut because you're playing a sort of discard mirror.
Oh, sure.
It's often going to be the case that you don't have a lot of spells in hand.
Like it's fine. It seems fine on the draw. Like if you happen to be able to get to it, but it's pretty ambitious.
And its purpose in the deck really is to play around counterspells because you can't force will 6 copies.
Yeah, that's not effective.
So it looks like David did bring in the empty. I like that.
Yeah, and I see a Sadistic Sacrament in Sean's hand as well.
Okay. He might have a turn 1 empty for 3, is what it looks like.
He's got the Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, but he needs and he has Ruby as well. Did I see Lotus Petal? Yeah, okay. So empty for 6 tokens. Is that like a good use of your time? I mean, it looks like he's going for it. So.
He's not really investing many resources into it, although he does have the option of wheeling as well.
Oh, that is a wheel. Oh, yeah, that card's pretty. I'd probably do that one instead.
I agree. So Sean kept his hand for a reason, probably because it's good.
Yeah.
And wheel gives your opponent the opportunity to draw an unplayable 7.
Yeah.
Looks like he drew a library, which is
Traditionally good.
good on the draw, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a combo.
David looks like he peeled a pair of Gitaxian Probes and a Dark Petition of his own.
So it looks like David might have cut the Hurkyl's Recalls for Ancient Tombs as just additional mana sources.
That's reasonable. It serves that same purpose. Just trying to add mana later in the game. Sean got his own Wheel of Fortune and can cast it. Oh my god.
It's a wheel off.
His first and second hand are both really good.
So Sean can both play library, tap it for a card, and then also play wheel.
That's bananas. He does, and oh yeah, the library counts as his mana source too. If David has a discard spell, he can take the Ruby out of his hand, which would be kind of annoying. It would stop the library from being live on Sean's turn, as well as preventing him from casting that Wheel of Fortune as well.
That's a good point.
Looks like is David going for it this turn?
He has a Tendrils in hand, Dark Petition and Dark Ritual.
He has a Ritual, yeah.
So Storm is at what?
It went...
It's at 4 currently?
Yeah, the wheel was the 3rd spell, and then this probe brings it up to 4. So he can... Do you like playing the second probe before going on, or going farther?
You have to, because Dark Petition costs 5, and he only has a total of... He can only get up to 3.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So he has to hit another Ritual. If he hits another Ritual, I think he has the game. If he doesn't, he might have to pass, but even still, he's in a fine position.
He found a Hurkyl's of his own. That's pretty cute.
It's not going to really do anything on this board state.
Yeah.
He has to crack his Petal for black.
In order to cast the Dark Ritual.
That's right.
He can... Oh, he has mana crypt. Okay, so that brings him up to 5 exactly, huh?
That sure does.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, is it... Now, if he goes for it here, he can petition for just another Ritual, right? And
That's right.
if he has enough spells, then he's set up. This makes 7.
Yeah, so he might be able to overkill by a little if he gets if he petitions for Black Lotus and cracks it for blue. Then he can Hurkyl's Recall himself as well.
And that's definitely enough spells, yeah. Okay. So he's back up to 3 black. He definitely has Spell Mastery at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, spell number 8.
Should have 3 black floating.
Yeah.
Get Black Lotus. So he has the option of Hurkyl's recalling himself to net a mana and 3 spells.
Yeah, the Hurkyl's, and then plus the 2 artifact spells. So, yeah, cast. Tendrils. There it is. That's the game. That's Storm right there.
So I think that... Okay, I was going to say that I think he shouldn't have played Mana Crypt because if this Tendrils gets Mindbreak Trapped, then he is just lost. But if the Tendrils gets Mindbreak Trapped, he has very, very, very few ways to win. Mm-hmm. He would have to draw Time Twister the Empty the Warrens back into his deck, and then or Yawgmoth's Will.
Yeah, but fortunately Sean was playing hands up because of the pair of attacks and pros.
That's right.
Wow. Okay, that was really something. Wheel of Fortune's pretty good.
Yes, it sure is.
Even Sean had to burn 2 of his really good opening hands too.
We've seen a huge number of turn 1s in this vintage tournament.
Blame the shuffler, I suppose.
Well, blame the meta. We've got a quarter of the field in Storm.
Is that so?
That's right.
I guess when you peel that one part of Mud out where they can't play Chalice on 0 every time they win the roll, then Storm players are gonna come out of the woodwork.
That does help. I know that there's at least one Shops player who moved over to Storm But also, like, the Magic Online results have been pushing in favor of Storm. So there's a lot of people who might have been on the fence, or maybe just willing to play whatever the best deck is, who perceive Storm to be the best deck.
Yeah, it's natural. People are. It's weird to say that people are excited about a new card from Magic Origins.
But there's a lot in Vintage. There's Jace, Vryn's Prodigy. There's Dark Petition.
And that's 2. That's a lot.
Handerback Walker. That's 3.
Oh man.
Yeah, Magic Origins is one of the most impactful sets since
Zendikar?
RTR.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, RTR had, like, even if RTR only has the best card, then that card completely changed. Well, maybe not completely changed, but definitely changed the face of Vintage.
Which one? Bruxgay?
I was gonna say Deaththreat Shaman.
I think they're both reasonable.
Yeah.
Deaththreat Shaman fueled the first sort of low curve creature aggressive deck that was actually tier 1.
Yeah.
Bugfish.
Blue-white fish, not really the same thing from back.
No, sir.
Years back. Anyway, so we see the openers from coming up for these guys right here. I see a bunch of lands and a recall, and a Hurkyl's recall. Got to be specific on which recall this is.
That's right. Mindbreak Trap. That's he drew his one of. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, his hand is Dark Petition and one ofs. Yeah, this is a pretty strong opener out of David.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, he's pretty close to being able to play Dark Petition on turn 2.
Looks right. If he draws any ritual, he can probably Dark Petition for Black Lotus and Yawgmoth's Will and have the chance to go off. He would have to draw probably another spell or 2, but overall, he's not far from going off turn 2.
There's no argument for Mindbreak trapping Sean's time walk there.
I don't think so.
That was my... Hello.
Well,
Hello.
I would Mindbreak Trap that.
You must pay 4 mana, though. It's the second spell.
Oh.
He went Time Walk, untap, Cabal Ritual, Six Sacrament.
Oh, how awkward is that?
Oh, my lord. Sean's going to be so insufferable now.
What a reader. I don't even think it's the superior card in the matchup,
and yet here we are, scoreboard.
That's right, scoreboard.
Yeah, David is, I believe, writing down the text of that card. Oh,
okay. Keep one.
I'm going to tell you right now, I bet David is writing us a note, and he's going to show it to the camera right now. Oh, no, he's not. Okay.
Maybe he's writing a memoir.
Yeah.
Put it in my scrapbook. Today, I almost won in Vintage, but instead I got sad sacked out of the game.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Citizen Sacrament, I have explained this one on camera before, is I am not a big fan, but like to know about things like this. It's a Gesture's Cap sorcery. Search target either player or opponent's library for 3 cards, exile them. Triple black to cast, and you can kick it for the low price of 7 additional mana. And
it's a strong kick.
Yeah, but you get 10 cards out of their deck, which is truly something.
Doesn't it only cap them for 1 if you don't kick it?
No, it's 3 cards for 3 mana or 10 mana for 10 cards.
Oh, so he's literally locked out.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, he's not perusing. He's gonna get he's about to take all these cards to the register and bring them up.
And I think Sean might be explaining to his opponent, your deck contains no win conditions.
No, I think Sean is just milking his time on camera. Difficult to say. Maybe he's studying David's approach to the matchup. Sean, cut it out. I see. Oh, he left microphones in.
Okay, so I understand this. He wants the only way that David can win is if he decks Sean.